The headlines for this hour on VTV News. Prime Minister inspects state preparedness at Hanoi Railway Station and Longang Hospital. And Communist Party of Vietnam literature spotlighted by international researcher. Later on in our world news, 80th anniversary of the liberations of AUSCHWITZ.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 8 a.m. local time in Hanoi. You're watching VTV News. On the occasion of Lunar New Year, Prime Minister Phie visited several agencies under the Ministry of National Defense and Ministry of Public Security to extend New Year greetings and inspect their state emergency response preparations. The Prime Ministers acknowledged and praised the unit's achievements in 2024 at the Police Department for Administrative Management of Social Order. He encouraged the department to lead in implementing Resolution 57 Science and Technology Initiative. The Prime Minister then inspected emergencies protocols at the Criminal Investigation Security Department before visiting Brigade K3 of General Department 2 under the Ministry of National Defense to offer state greetings. Prime Minister Phie on Monday extended Lunar New Year state greetings and inspected the railway sector's readiness to carry passengers during the country's most important festival. He also presented gifts to patients and talked with the National Lung Hospital leaders and medical workers. More in the following story.
At the Hanoi railway station, the Prime Minister inspected ticket sales, passenger services, and folk cultural activities designed to celebrate Tet. The government leader also experienced the newly launched luxury tourist train, a collaborative effort between the Vietnam Railways Corporation and tourism companies. In his address, the government leader urged the corporation to continue adopting modern management methods and embrace digital transformation and green transition.
At the National Lung Hospital, the Prime Minister presented gifts to patients and chatted with the hospital's leaders and medical workers. He commended the hospital for its contributions to the country's healthcare sector and its remarkable achievement of successfully performing 3 lung transplants with a 100% success rate. The government leader also instructed the hospital to accelerate the transfer of organ transplant technologies, particularly for lung transplants, to perfect its capabilities. He urged it to take the lead in treating tuberculosis and lung diseases, focusing on lung transplantation while upgrading its medical equipment to meet modern standards.
Prime Minister Phie offered cents in tribute to late Prime Minister Pham Van Dong and extended warm Lunar New Year greetings to his family in Hanoi on Monday, the 28th day of the last lunar month. In tribute to late Prime Minister Pham Van Dong, an eminent follower and close and trusted comrade of President Ho Chi Minh, the government leader expressed his profound respect for the late leader. He described him as a stalwart revolutionary fighter, one of the key leaders and veterans of the Vietnamese Revolution who made immense contributions to the cause of national liberation, construction, and defense. Under the leadership of the Communist Party of Vietnam for the past 95 years, Vietnam has overcome countless challenges to assert its positions on the international stage. From the struggles for independence to the đổi mới reforms and global integration, this journey has left a deep impression on young scholars and those who admire Vietnam worldwide.
Kyril Whitaker is a young researcher who has been passionate about the politics and history of Vietnam for nearly 10 years. His trip to Vietnam and his research on the role of the Communist Party of Vietnam in leading the revolutionary movement for national independence marked a turning point in his life.
The way that Vietnamese Communist Party looks at Marxism-Leninism is in a flexible way. So it looks at how The material conditions of Vietnam are developing and changing, and it changes its political theory according to these material conditions. In that way, it's constantly renovating, it's constantly stamping out new issues that arise, and it makes sure that the country is as unified, peaceful, and independent as it is today.
For Ivan Kalmykov, a Russian researcher, the Communist Party's leadership has shaped a Vietnam that is both flexible and wise, yet also very resilient and steadfast in pursuing its development goals.
One part of my article, which was the World Value Survey by Ronald Inglehart and Welzel, the position of Vietnam in the middle of the map means that Vietnam has very balanced set of values. Vietnam does not tend to choose any side, does not seem to prioritize certain direction.
After 95 years of party leadership and nearly 40 years of Doi Moi, Vietnam has overcome obstacles and become a country with an important role internationally. Foreign scholars highly appreciate the party's unity in strategic thinking and actions.
Secretary Tolam was very interesting and instructive for me. It's a programmatic article about main objective and main task of Communist Party of Vietnam in the most important law of socialism, that development is for the responding the needs of the people, and everything shall be done for the people.
The 95-year journey of the Communist Party of Vietnam is a vivid testament to its unwavering commitment to revolutionary goals and the spirit of innovation in its leadership strategy. International scholars believe that thanks to the unity of the people and the correct leadership path, Vietnam not only achieved independence but also made strong strides into an era of integration and development.
Over 7,000 workers and engineers will remain on site during Tết to push forward with construction at Longang International Airport. This marked the third year the project has operated through the holiday, as teams work to meet key deadlines. To support workers far from home, the management board and contractors will distribute gifts and host Spring Festival activities on site, creating a festive and welcoming atmosphere. Vietnam at the forefront of the global smart city movement, the country is driving forward a national smart city development strategy with a vision extending to 2050. Vietnam has made remarkable strides in policy innovation, creating a favorable investment environment and advancing research and practical applications across various provinces and cities.
Locating which basements have available parking slots, finding bus routes to your destination, discovering the nearest markets or supermarkets, or checking current prices for essential goods. These services can be found via smartphones.
Living in a modern and smart urban area is essential for a young family. It offers convenient utilities and smart choices for users. I can pay fees, manage tasks, and operate everything from home without the need to travel. It gives me more time for my family. Technology 4.0 has truly modernized my life.
The application provides nearly all the information residents need, from feedback submission to service updates. Our urban areas' integration of information technology, green spaces, and security systems sets it apart. It's a holistic approach to living.
The smart city model enables seamless two-way interaction, allowing residents to participate in its management by contributing feedback to enhance service quality. Meanwhile, urban managers can oversee operations with a smartphone app, managing security, traffic, and utilities, and even scheduling plant watering based on growth cycles.
As urban areas face growing challenges like air, light, and noise pollution, 70% of people now prefer green and smart urban spaces. By combining ecological principles with smart infrastructure, we aim to create safe, convenient, and energy-efficient environments that reduce emissions and optimize resource use.
The rise of smart cities, propelled by digital transformation, is reshaping Vietnam's urban landscape. This movement has already improved the quality of life in many areas, with around 10 provinces and cities implementing smart urban strategies at various levels. From enhanced daily conveniences to eco-friendly urban management, Vietnam's smart city model is paving the way for a sustainable and vibrant future.
Coming up next on VTV News, Date celebration in Trường Sa archipelago. And Vietnam debuts in French culinary competition final. A cold air front continued to move south on Monday, causing the chill to spread across the entire north and north central regions. Many high mountain peaks in the north were covered in ice and snow.
On Monday, snow-covered Phansapunk's Peak in Laro Cai attracted thousands of domestic and international tourists.
It was a beautiful memory, a rare sight seldom seen.
I came to Sapa from Hanoi last Friday. It was snowing last night, and this morning the scene is spectacular.
In Mae Vác District, Ha Giang Province, nighttime temperatures have dropped below 0 degrees Celsius. Authorities have implemented measures to prevent the cold.
We must ensure that children and older people are dressed warmly and remind farmers to cover their barns and feed their livestock.
Frost is forecast to continue on mountain peaks above 1,500 meters in many districts of Ha Giang, Cao Bunk, Lang Son, and Yen Bai. The severe cold will persist in the northern mountains, so people must take measures to protect their health, livestock, and crops.
The Saki-Lý Sơn Ferry route has been suspended from January 27 due to bad weather, with strong winds level 6 to 7 and wave up to 4 meters. Authorities warn of high risk to boats from tornadoes and rough seas. The resumption of the route will depend on weather conditions. Over 3,000 Lý Sơn residents are expected to return to the islands during this year's Tết holiday. In preparation, Quảng Ngãi Province requested support from the Coast Guard Region 2 Command to arrange ships to transport stranded passengers from Saki Port to Lý Sơn Islands by January 28. As the lunar year is about to end, the arrival of vessels laden with date goods in the Trường Sa archipelago heralds the start of a festive celebration for the soldiers and residents of these distant islands. Dates on the islands are a time of unity where soldiers and islanders come together as one big family, sharing the spirit of the island is my home, the sea is my homeland.
Braving hundreds of nautical miles in stormy weather, vessels carrying the essence of spring have finally docked. The new recruits have seamlessly joined the Tate preparations on Sing Ton Island.
This is my first Tate away from home, and I feel excited to celebrate in such a sacred place of our homeland. Here, I will fulfill my duty while experiencing the joy of Tate in a special way.
At this time of year, rough seas and swell make it challenging to navigate to the islands. Yet, despite these obstacles, Tate gifts from the mainland have reached every island.
These gifts are a tremendous spirit lifter for the officers and soldiers on the island. They bring the full flavor of Tet, candies, watermelon seeds, and even dong leaves to wrap ban chum. Everyone gathers to make the speciality feel like a true Tet celebration.
In recent years, transportation has greatly improved. Materials for making bang chung can be transported to distant islands.
Rapping Bang Chung is both a Tet tradition and a friendly competition between units. It creates a cheerful atmosphere and fosters a sense of camaraderie among the soldiers on duty far from home.
During Tet, island residents momentarily set aside their daily concerns to join the festivities with the officers and soldiers, embracing the joy of welcoming spring together.
Although I'm far from home, celebrating Tet on the island feels just as complete as it does on the mainland. The warmth of the occasion makes the homesickness fade away.
Despite the challenges and shortages, the soldiers, like banyan trees standing strong against the storms, remain steadfast. With resolve and joy, they safeguard peace so that everyone back home can celebrate Tet in harmony.
At the end of every year, the Gairang Floating Market, the most unique tourist attraction in Cần City, attracts thousands of domestic and international visitors. Here, visitors are captivated by the region's unique waterway culture and the warmth, genuine hospitality of the Southwest people. To accommodate the surge in visitors, local traders have substantially increased their inventory. The market now opened 1 to 2 hours earlier to handle the higher volume of trade. It was recognized as National Intangible Cultural Heritage in 2016. According to the People's Committee of Gairang District, the market hosts around 200 to 250 trading boats, sometimes reaching up to 400 vessels. From January 25th to 27th, the prestigious international chef competition, the Bocuse d'Or, took place in Lyon, France. This competition has an almost 4-decade history and is held every 2 years. This time, Vietnam reached the final round with 23 chefs representing 23 countries worldwide. Chef Vũ Xuân Trường, a talent in the Vietnamese culinary industry, and his team were present in Lyon.
Starting at 4 a.m., the chefs began preparing for a day of competition. Xuân Truong and the Vietnamese team, consisting of coaches and assistants, had to figure out what to bring to the competition, especially given the theme and ingredients, which were all from temperate regions, including venison, seafood, smoked foie gras, celery root, and distinct French spices. The secret lies in the flavor.
Vietnam's spices are rich and diverse. For this competition, I decided to make a fish dish inspired by the Mekong Delta's version of crab noodle soup. As for the venison dish, I drew inspiration from the terraced rice fields of Mu Cang Chai.
The distinctive flavor of the Mekong Delta's bun riu, or crab noodle soup, was infused into the dish, alongside other ingredients like eggs, butter, and wine, to create a sauce that doesn't follow the typical Western palate. Of course, balancing Asian and European flavors was a challenge.
Many teams had spent 2 years preparing for the competition, while the Vietnam team only had 3 months. Despite such short notice, they were able to achieve such remarkable results.
The presence of talented Vietnamese chefs opened up a sense of hope that Vietnam is now a prominent force in the global culinary scene. It also highlights the opportunity to introduce Vietnamese cuisine to the international stage.
Returning to the core values of Vietnamese culture, particularly traditional costumes, is a growing trend among young people. As state approaches, these costumes are increasingly seen at cultural events and on social media. This trend is helping to shape the development of a cultural industry rooted in the Vietnamese identity.
Hundreds of people in traditional Vietnamese costumes paraded through the streets for the 100 Flowers Walking Festival, the opening event of the Vietnamese Tet Street Tet 2025 Festival in Hanoi's Old Quarter. Participation grows each year.
Young people realize that traditional costumes are beautiful, and parading allows them to showcase them.
Young people are the key drivers in promoting culture and restoring traditional cultural values.
With the rise of entertainment products that leverage traditional culture, there is a growing focus on restoring and applying traditional costumes.
Vietnam's traditional costumes can be innovated, and their vibrant colors appeal to audiences.
The costumes symbolize Vietnamese culture, helping the audience connect with it. We aim to integrate music and costumes to deepen their appreciation for Vietnamese culture.
Many countries have used traditional costumes to drive cultural industry development. In Vietnam, young people's embrace of these costumes has created new opportunities.
It's time for us to focus on cultural industries, where traditional elements serve as an identity from which we can develop and create.
Once dormant in museums or books, traditional costumes have come to life today. However, significant effort and creativity are still needed to turn this heritage into a valuable cultural industry.
Coming up next in our war news, 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. And U.S. official hunting for illegal immigrants. January 27 marked the 80th anniversary of the liberation of the Auschwitz concentration camp in Poland by the Soviet Red Army, one of the most tragic symbols of the Holocaust during the World War II. Remembrance events are being held in cities worldwide to educate young people about this tragic past and prevent similar acts from happening again. In Brussels, the European Commission's building was illuminated in memory of the victims of the Nazi genocide. Auschwitz was the site of the internment and massacre of millions of Jews, Roman prisoners of war, and opponents of the Nazi regime. It is estimated that more than 1 million people died there. Today, Auschwitz is a memorial site attracting millions of visitors each year. The U.S. Department of Justice has launched a multi-agency immigration enforcement operation in Chicago, part of President Donald Trump's plan to increase the arrest and deportation of illegal immigrants. The operation involves multiple law enforcement agencies within the Department of Justice. The exact number of people arrested in Chicago has not been released. An estimated 400,000 illegal immigrants live in Chicago, many of whom are believed to be hiding in their homes to avoid federal law enforcement. Also on Sunday, U.S. federal agents arrested dozens of illegal immigrants in Puerto Rico and Colorado.
Hey, Louis, your car, right? Hey, to the right over there, that corner.
The Israeli military has announced that residents of the Gaza Strip are allowed to begin moving north as part of a ceasefire agreement between the Israeli military and Hamas. 10,000 have returned home via the Netzarim corridor and the Rasit coastal route after 15 months of forced displacement due to the conflict. This is seen as an important step towards restoring normal life. However, infrastructures and living conditions in Gaza remain extremely difficult. The United Nations has asserted that the Israel-Hamas conflict has set Gaza economy back 60 years and that reconstruction effort could cost up to $50 billion over the next decade. Scientists from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, have developed advanced robotic insect that could aid farming through artificial pollination. They could prove especially useful in the controlled indoor environments of high-tech vertical farms. More to follow.
The robots, each lighter than a paperclip, can hover for approximately 1,000 seconds, over 100 times longer than previous models. They are also capable of performing high-speed acrobatic maneuvers, including double aerial flips.
We want the robot to be able to have like board, battery, and sensors on board. So to do that, we need much higher payload than now. So what we're currently pushing very hard right now is to optimize the robot design to be able to lift more and more so that we can afford these potential payloads.
For him, robots like these could be especially beneficial in controlled indoor environments, such as vertical farms. Vertical farming, the name given to the production of crops in a series of stacked levels, often in a controlled environment, is a fast-growing industry with billions of dollars being pumped into projects across the globe.
This doesn't really mean that we want to entirely replace honeybees in nature, but what we sometimes hear from the people in the relevant field is that there are really the cases where we can't rely on honeybees anymore, such as indoor farming, where we can't really have honeybee columns in it because of safety issues or some environmental issues. So in that case, we can start thinking of using our robot, if it works well for those indoor farmings.
Long-term, the team hope this will enable autonomous flight outside the lab. But for now, they remain far from matching the complex capabilities of natural pollinators.
And now, as usual, let's continue with the weather forecast. And that's all the news for today. To rewatch our program, you can log on to VTVgo.vn or download our mobile application VTVgo. And this last bulletin for this Lunar New Year. And we see you next year. Happy New Year. Have a good holiday.